Game 3 of the 2014 Greendale Panther football season. Greendale finds himself on the road again as they made the trip out west to take on the Pewaukee Pirates. The Pirates have lost each of their first 2 games by 1 point each to formidable teams, so Greendale knew that they would be dangerous tonight. This game is the first conference game in the Woodland Conference West. Pewaukee would kick first to start the game. After a nice return by Kay Kimmons, the Panthers would start their first drive of the night from their 39. They immediately went on the attack using all the weapons available to them.
Ramirez on the carry.
Five plays later, they crossed the goal line on a 9-yard dart from quarterback Josh Ringelberg to Ty Ramirez. Josh Michaels would make the point after try making the score 7-0 with 10:23 left in the opening quarter of play. On the ensuing kick, the Panthers must have seen something on film and tried a short pop-up kick to the right side of the field. It doesn't take much time for the Panthers to get down to the field with their speed as Jack Ringelberg would recover the free ball on the Pirates' 26. 7 plays later, they were looking at a 4th and 1 from the 1 when Ringelberg took the ball over the goal line. There would be a motion penalty, however, and the play would be brought back, so Greendale would have to settle for a 23-yard field goal attempt by Josh Michaels, which was good, increasing Greendale's lead by a score of 10-0 with 7:34 left in the first quarter. The Panthers tried that same thing, but this time a Pewaukee up man caught the ball on a fair catch in his 32. The Pirates only managed 5 plays before they were forced to punt from their 43 as Greendale's quick defense was all over the field making plays. This time the Panthers would start from their 20 as the ball rolled into the end zone. They resumed right where they left off in their first drive. After a nice run by Jack Ringelberg, Josh Ringelberg would follow that up with a perfect 54-yard scoring strike to his cousin David Johnson, who was wide open down the right side of the field for a score. Michael's kick was true again, making the score Greendale 17, Pewaukee nothing, with 5:11 left in the first quarter. The Pirates needed to get control of this game or it would get away from them early. They would start their drive from the 37. They again could only manage 4 plays before being forced to punt from Greendale's 40. The Panthers' speed demons would now begin their next drive from their 20. On the very first play, Ringelberg would get off a great run, but then he would fumble, of which Pewaukee would recover on Greendale's 37. This could be the break that the Pirates needed. Again, however, they would have to punt after 8 plays as an offensive pass interference penalty in the end zone created a long yardage situation of which they couldn't recover from. It was now in the second quarter. After the punt, Greendale would have to start from their 6. After 3 consecutive unsuccessful plays, they would be forced to punt from the back of their end zone. On the snap of the ball, punter Angel Ramirez would get off a monster kick that rolled all the way to the Pewaukee 44. Scoreless Pirates would now take possession. 2 plays later, they would be intercepted by J.J. Hartung, who made a spectacular catch, giving the ball right back to his offense on Pewaukee's 46. Again, Greendale failed to do anything, and they were forced to punt after 6 plays. Pewaukee's offense would now take over on their 26. Greendale's high-flying defense shut the door and forced the Pirates to punt from their 35 as they went 3 and out. Greendale now took over on their 43. 6 plays later, Ringelberg found Johnson in the end zone again from 29 yards out for an apparent touchdown, but it would be called back on a penalty. After some very nifty runs by both Josh and Jack Ringelberg, the Panthers would eventually score on an 11-yard Ringelberg to Kimmons scoring strike. The extra point was good, making the score 24-0 with 4:03 left in the first half. The Pirates would start their next drive from the 20 as Michaels reached the end zone. Still having trouble dealing with Greendale's speed, they did manage to put an 11-play drive together, but they were forced to punt from Greendale's 39 as they were looking at a 4th and 21. After a nicely placed kick, Greendale would be forced to start from their 11. They just took a knee to end the first half of play. Greendale would kick to the Pirates to open the second half. After a short return, they would start from their 42. Whatever was said at the halftime worked, for 5 plays later, Pewaukee crossed the goal line from 17 yards out on a strong run by Jordan Jones. Matt Fritchen made the point after try, and Pewaukee was now on the board, but still trailing by a score of 24-7 with 10:20 left in the third. Pewaukee tried an onside kick, but Greendale recovered, so they would start from their 48. They got off 5 plays before lining up for a punt from midfield. After the kick, Pewaukee would start from their 21. This time they ended up punting after 5 plays from their 36. The Panthers would start their next drive from the 20. 11 plays later, Ringelberg hooked up with Johnson again for a 28-yard touchdown pass, but it would be nullified by another penalty. This was the 3rd touchdown called back tonight on a penalty. Five plays later, they would cross the goal line again on an incredible run by Ringelberg from 15 yards out. This time the kick was no good, so that made the score 30-7 with 11:43 now left in the game. Pewaukee would take over from their 36 after the ensuing kick. Greendale's speed was just too much for Pewaukee as they turned the ball over on downs on the Pirate 46. 8 plays later, a slippery Ringelberg pulled off another one of his crazy runs and scored from 15 yards out. Michael split the uprights, making the score 37-7 with 6:08 left in the game. You can now tell by Pewaukee's body language that they were disappointed with how things were going. They would start their next drive from their 28. 6 plays later, they would line up for their 5th punt of the game. Greendale now took possession on their 45. And their quarterback was David Wood, along with the Panthers' number 2 offense. They squeezed off 6 plays before the game finally came to an end. Final score would be Greendale 37, Pewaukee 7. The past several years, these two teams have always ended up in close battles. This year wasn't the case, however, as Pewaukee had a much younger squad, while Greendale returned most of their weapons back from last year. It was also obvious that Greendale was just too quick, which is what they have to rely on to offset their overall lack of size. Josh Ringelberg once again proved that his name should be included on the list as the state's best high school quarterback. He is a true dual-threat quarterback that poses nothing but trouble for opposing teams. Of course, being surrounded by a bunch of speedsters makes their offense almost impossible to stop. Greendale will return home next week and host the New Berlin Eisenhower Lions. They are coming in with a 22-21 victory over crosstown rival New Berlin West this past week. This game is scheduled to start at 7 o'clock. Hope to see you all there. So long.